Township of Black on regular monthly meeting, November 19th, 2019.
I'll call the meeting to order. Adequate notice has been given to the Express Times and the Star Gazette satisfying the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act. Before I start the meeting, I'd just like to make an announcement. For those of you who may not know, the township lost a longtime resident, Robert Moyer. Many of you may know Mr. Moyer. Mr. Moyer drove the school bus here for many years in the community. He drove me to school. He might have driven some of your children, or maybe even driven you to school. Great loss for our community. May our thoughts and prayers be with the Moyer family. This time, let's stand and have a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, we're going to administer the oath of office first to Ingrid Dray, and then after Ingrid, we will do it for Kevin Melvin. You want to hold the Bible, Kevin?
Okay.
Do you have somebody hold up? There you go. Let's Ingrid, you got somebody who wants to?
Kevin says, Kevin's got ready, so I can sit right here.
You can have a seat, Kevin.
Unless Randy wants to.
Oh, you got your own, that's even better yet. All right. Raise the right hand, left hand on the Bible, right, Kevin?
That's correct. Left hand on the Bible, right hand up.
Okay.
Copy that for you.
I, Ingrid Gray,
Got all the restrictions.
I, Ingrid Gray,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same and to the governments established
to the same and to the governments established
in the United States and in this state,
in the United States and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will impartially and justly perform all the duties of the office of council member,
that I will impartially and justly perform all the duties of the office of council member,
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations. All right, Kevin?
See, he's up here now.
Come on up, Ingrid.
Don't forget my back.
You don't have your... I, Kevin J. Melvin,
I, Kevin J. Melvin,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same and to the governments established
to the same and to the governments established
in the United States and in this state,
in the United States and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will impartially and justly perform all the duties of the office of council member,
that I will impartially and justly perform all the duties of the office of council member,
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Welcome back aboard, Kevin. Maybe if you could sign one of those oaths and give back to Wanda. We'll be set. Okay, with that housekeeping is done,
Hey, this is this time will be a little longer. So, yeah, congratulations.
okay, we have two sets of minutes we need to approve. We have minutes from September 17th, and then minutes from October 15th. Wanda, can we take them together?
No, sir, we have to take them separate, because Councilman
Okay.
Babinski missed the September meeting.
So I'll move the first set.
I'll second it.
Okay, Babinski
No.
abstains
Abstain.
of Green. Ingrid has to abstain, so I say Melvin,
Yes.
Van Loo,
Yes.
Slack.
Yes.
I'll move now the second, for October 15th.
And I'll second it.
Okay, Babinski. Gray has to abstain, Melvin,
Yes.
Van Loo,
Yes.
Slack.
Yes. Motion to pay bills, payment of bills presented in proper form, signed by the director of each department and approved by the majority of the members and listed on the bill list. Has everybody had a chance for the bills? Any questions? Yeah, all right, we have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Babinski, Gray, Melvin,
Yes.
Van Loo,
Yes.
Slack.
Yes. Okay, public comment. Are there any public comments at this time pertaining to agenda items? Seeing none, we're going to move on. We have a representative here this evening from the Warren County Community College. If you please introduce yourself. Everyone, there's a few names here, and I'm going to not take a stab at which one. Doctor, are you Dr. Austin? Just Will. Just Will, okay.
And I will attempt to be very brief. And we appreciate you having, well, just me tonight, to start with me, having me out this evening. We've been going around to all the municipalities in the county for the last year, and we're coming towards the end, although you are not, certainly not weeks and not last. Part of this. Real quick, just to kind of go over, we're just telling you a little bit about what we're doing at the college, answer any questions anyone might have. We're not here to ask for anything, so you can sit at ease. I won't be making any requests at the end. One of the reasons why we were coming around was to, again, let everyone know in various places that last year we were one of very few community colleges that was able to offer free community colleges to our residents. This year, the program went statewide, so any household in Warren County where the income is $65,000 or less, they changed the number, does not have to pay tuition or fees at Warren County Community College. The good news is, if you're higher than that, we've done a lot of things to make education more affordable. One of the first things that we did, one of the reasons we were chosen last year as part of that pilot program was, no student at Warren has to take remedial education at all. One of the things we discovered several years ago, right after the recession, was too many people were being forced into remedial classes. They don't count towards graduation. You have to pay regular tuition and fees. And quite honestly, my wife did her dissertation on remedial education and determined that it was, in fact, unnecessary, and it was only holding people back. So our board, even though her own institution where she worked, they didn't change anything. The board at Warren said, well, let's take a closer look at this. I'm happy to report now, only 3 students who have chosen to do so are in remedial education. Our graduation rates doubled after doing this. The University of Texas Charles Dana Center came and studied the college, and I'm happy to report in January, based on what we've accomplished from Columbia University, the Community College Research Center will come out and study us. No other college in New Jersey has been studied by either of these two nationally known prestigious organizations, let alone both. No other institution in the country has been studied by both. But they're coming out and they're studying what we did because of the tremendous success and impact it's had on our residents. The other thing I would share as a way to, again, make education cheaper is we're very happy that our dual enrollment program this year will boast 2,169 students from our high schools. That's well over 50% of all people in high school in Warren County, all the students. Completely 100% free to them because it's funded by the county. We're able to credential a great number of their credits, somewhere in excess of 10,000 credits. To give you an idea of the value, if all those students were to come to Warren and pay for those credits, it'd be about $2.1 million in value that's completely free to them. If all of those students, just use the other institution in the county, were to go to Centenary College, the value of those credits is $25 million. So the value of what we're giving away is somewhere in that range between 2.1 and 25, depending on people take their credits. But it's not uncommon for me to get emails from parents saving anywhere from $10,000 to $70,000. And again, they don't even have to pay for the transcript. That's 100% free. I'm happy to say we have the highest graduation rate of any community college in the state. Another way we made college cheaper was, well, it's now Laurel, New Jersey, but we did it many years ago. All degrees are only 60 credits. In New Jersey, degrees had gotten as high for an associate degree as 90 credits, and it took an act of the legislature for every other community college and four-year school to realize this was wrong. Our board did this several years ago before it was a law. I'm also happy to say that we're the only college in Northeast United States to have a partnership with Cengage Unlimited. Cengage is in the merger right now with McGraw-Hill, so it'll be known as McGraw-Hill probably by next fall. But basically, all students who come to us only pay $135 a year for every single book that they get, and they have access to, right now, somewhere in the area of 23,000 resources that become immediately available to them. When the merger happens with McGraw-Hill, it'll be well over 60,000 books, videos, periodicals that for $135 a year those students will have. The other good news is when they move on, the subscription goes with them, and it lasts actually 2 years. So if they're going on to a four-year school and they pay this year, they can put books into what's known as a library, and they wouldn't have to buy books at the next institution either. I would also say that if you can't afford to feed yourself or you don't have money for food, we provide free food at the college now as well. I am the, I guess, representative for community colleges to all the presidents in the state, which means I get the great honor of testifying before the legislature once a year when it's budget time. Last year when we were doing this, we went down the road, Rutgers, NJIT, the president of Stockton, the president of St. Peter's, and myself, and the question from the legislature was, how much will tuition go up next year? And I was, of course, being a community college person, the last person speaking. They all went down, how much they were going to raise it, and what I was able to say is, because of what we did with remediation, dual enrollment, the textbooks, and 60 credits, I can say absolutely today, in 2019, it costs less to go to Warren County Community College than it did in 2003 when I became president, and I don't know any other college that can say that cost of attendance is less than it was 17 years ago. But our board has made this a priority, and we're very happy to serve the community, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
Yeah, we want to send you up to some of our other educational institutions to work your miracles.
It's a lot of hard work by a lot of dedicated people, but thanks.
Great job. Congratulations. The high school stuff is amazing.
So, you were saying, so any high school senior who would like to go to Warren County Community College can go this degree?
If their household is under $65,000 a
there's a
year.
threshold.
Yes, the state has set a threshold. That's a state program. Yes.
We had a representative from the emergency squad here in October.
Okay.
We talked about the dearth of squad members that were qualified EMTs and how hard it was. And when I asked him about talking to Warren County Community College, he said that, in fact, they had sponsored kids going in there, encouraged them, and that there was a dropout rate, that they didn't continue in the program if they were attending. Isn't that correct? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah.
And then consequently, I met a young EMT at a pizza shop, and we were talking, and he was from New York, and he said that he got engaged in becoming an EMT when he was a freshman or sophomore in high school. His ability for understanding medical things, his biology IQ was really high, and he was fostered into the EMT program at a younger age, and by the time he graduated from high school, he had accrued enough credit that he graduated from college with the EMT. So I thought that was a really good way to hook young people into knowing where they're going to go if that's where their interest is. Do you articulate with the North County Community College and high school or offer
Well, yeah, the
anything
dual
like that?
enrollment program, just so you know, they teach our curriculum, and so we had to go to every high school. And so there are ninth graders going to college through that program now, all the way to 12th grade. So we had to align everything, and we have a partnership with every high school in the county, and we do everything we can to encourage people to take advantage of that
So
program.
you do have an EMT program then? That's great to know.
Anything else? Well, thank you very much for coming this evening and presenting. The community college has definitely come a long way from where it started. Thank you very
If we
much.
can ever do anything for you, just let us know.
I know you have the support of three good freeholders behind you here, that's for sure.
Yes, our new liaison is former Mayor Curry.
Our condolences, eh? Okay, very good. Thank you. Moving on, we'll start with the attorney's report. Kevin?
I don't have a lot tonight, Mayor, it's not already on the agenda. You guys requested to reach out to Matt Stan, that contract later than the agenda. We did revise the bereavement policy that's also on the agenda. As far as the mall tax appeal, still having some difficulty getting responsive discovery out of them, including depositions. So the deadline dates were just extended by the judge. And we'll see what happens. Maybe some other stuff is pretty good, and maybe we can get some movement on those appeals. I also did get, Wayne was good enough to give us some information on some build-out analysis over there. So that seems to be moving, inching along. And beyond that, it's, I know Steve wants to talk about the general store, but that's on number 14 here, so I'll wait for that. I think that's pretty good.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. Our engineer is not here this evening, but he did forward a report. I believe everybody could have got it via email. If anybody has any questions. There was some guardrail things that we talked about. I guess the bid came in for the first job, and it was over what was allotted.
I did work on the bid specs with Wayne. I guess it went out again. It did come out. So we have 6 days to award that, so we can move.
I don't know what we're going to do.
That was my question, if we have to reject it, how long was the timetable?
60 days.
And that was from
Yeah.
the 14th is when we opened, I believe? Is that correct, Wanda?
Yes.
So we can have a December meeting.
Yeah.
We talked to Wayne, get his thoughts, he'll probably get that next week if you want.
Yeah, I did chat with Wayne, and he said that the co-op, even though the official pricing shouldn't come out in January, in December, they should have some pricing
Idea.
availability. Given the current bid, it's like 40 grand or over, I would also recommend rejecting it, but let's see what,
Somebody has to say first.
yeah.
Yeah, I would be in favor of that as well.
I think the other thing that he had said to me was, just especially with regard to Pinterest Point and all of the work that's got to be done up there, the plans and stuff, they're going to need approval right away in December. So just for this council to be ready to take an action at the next meeting in order to get all that lined up. I think there are some other timetables in middle of February as well that we'll need to probably address at the next meeting.
Okay, with that being said, we'll move on to council reports. We'll start with Steve.
Okay, on the DPW report from October 15th to November 19th. These are the things that kept them busy the last month or so. They painted lines on the football fields weekly. They continued mowing weeds throughout the township roadways. They checked and cleaned drainage throughout the township. They started the annual fall leaf pickup in the Alpha Annex, Huntington, Parkside, and Shimer Manor areas. Picked up bagged leaves. graded and blew up numerous roadways throughout the township. They took the paver roller and the roller to Mellis Woods Road to patch pave broken areas on the roadway. They made key cuts and they milled it to patch pave Mellis Woods Road. Blow leaves and debris off Mellis Woods Road for patch paving. They patched in deep potholes, patch pave shoulders of sections of Mellis Woods Road. They cut and removed trees blocking the roadways on River Road and Edge Road after that heavy wind and rainstorm. They secured the front door entrance of Shimer School with plywood. They put various equipment, including the paver and the roller, away for winter. They put salt spreaders on the dump trucks, God forbid, and started repairs on auxiliary generators on the sewer camera truck. It's salt this time, I guess it's that time of year.
Wonder how we are, I think, Jeff's not here.
No, nobody's here tonight.
Salt shed, I think, is pretty full.
Yeah.
So we should be covered.
We should be covered to the end of the year, so that'll help. Matter of fact, I signed the bill for salt tonight. That's it.
All right, thank you, Steve. Ingrid, I assume you don't have a report yet, we're just not swearing you in, but
Here.
anything you'd like to speak your piece before we move on?
Find me something.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we do our reorg in January, we'll take a look at all who department heads and so forth and so on. Between now and then, I'll mull it over and we'll assign everybody a different department head, see how that goes. We also need to, Council President then or now? Then?
Yeah, it does, one gets done a rework.
Okay, when we reorg, we'll take care of Council President as well. And
Unless you're gonna miss this.
well, I don't plan on it, but we'll see what happens. I have some doctor's appointments next week that they could address some issues, so.
No, but, that's not be a bad idea, just in case you're out there.
Wouldn't it still be Councilman Melvin?
Are you?
He was.
Where are you?
Hotel was.
Hotel was, right.
Well, then you're it.
You're it.
Yeah.
For one meeting, how's that? Tag, you're it.
You're it.
If they say I can't come back from my doctor's appointment or whatever, then that'll work on me.
I'll come pick you up.
They better not find it long, you got corn and soybeans to do still.
Yeah, well, I'll find somebody to do that too, I suppose. All right, moving on, Councilman Melvin?
Thank you, Mayor, for the reports. For the month of October, for Cohasset, we had 225 traffic complaints issued, 241 were disposed. For criminal complaints, we had 68, and we disposed 34 of those. For our treasury, from the courts is year-to-date deposited $90,000. Look, ACCOM had 243, Greenwich had 243 traffic complaints issued, 294 were disposed, criminal complaints were 33, and criminal complaints that were disposed were 31. For Greenwich, the shared services fee year-to-date has been $41,950. Since September, we've taken 100% of that revenues, not been dispersed into Greenwich, and that pot holds an additional $15,855,000. Still an imbalance there if you look at the amount of activity versus the budgeted amount for the court, which leads me to my next topic on the court side of the shared services agreement. We did receive a counter proposal. That's been received. I have not yet personally reviewed it, but based upon the summary provided to me by the chief, I would recommend that we reject the counter. I will review the counter in detail and compare further to, we've got more data now, so from when we made it to see if the trends are still consistent with the activity versus the spend in the budget. And from that, I'll either recommend to the council our own counter to that, or a flat-out rejection, and not to continue with the shared service. So I'll look to take that on probably within the next month and have another report in December. The The Economic Development Advisory Commission, we were able to get a quorum and meet. We hadn't met since, I believe, July. We did review the activity from National Night Out, that was back in August. We also approved letters to go out to all the National Night Out donors, which will be going out here shortly. We set up a timeline for the 2020 reach out for sponsors for National Night Out. We also discussed providing this council an annual report, and that will be worked on at the next meeting in December. With regard to Open Space Advisory Commission, Chairman Stillo and myself met with the Buildings and Grounds Subcommittee of the School Board, answered all of their questions. They seem to be very much on board with the pursuit that we're continuing. They're very excited about the fields. We did have some field updates. I can also report that the check that literally in for the soil conservation application. So we were able, I sat down with the CFO, we worked out getting those funds from the open space as well as paying for the planning work that our planner did, or excuse me, our engineer did for the planning parts of that project. Still to do is Chairman Stillo and I are going to do a tour of our Green Acre properties to see if we are still going to go down the route of potential swapping the property before the acquisition of the property behind the fields. And then the other thing is an annual report. We have on the agenda to do that for the month of December. And then, Kevin, there is something I'll follow up with you offline, just with regard to some of the scope around definition of open space, especially when it comes to, I know we're looking into the properties with the tax limits and such like that. I don't know if that falls under the scope of this commission or not, but I'll talk to you offline about that. I also attended the Recreation Association meeting. There were updates. They unfortunately didn't win the championship for football. However, it was a big showing there. The wrestling is getting kicked off now, as well as cheer. Softball sign-ups will be in January. Basketball is getting underway as well. The big thing with them is they've got a 501c3 application pending with the IRS. They received formal feedback, I believe, in July, August timeframe. There's a 90-day response period, so once that 90-day window, if they're approved, they'll know in 90 days. And then that will allow for them to receive donations, which would then be tax deductible, to help supplement their budgets. Fire department. So the fire department for the month of October, they had activity with a result of 145 man-hours, and that was spread out over 11 calls, meetings, and work to on the equipment. What else we got? Last meeting we discussed the property next to the school that we've acquired. We did talk about potentially looking at that for Habitat for Humanity. I did have an interested party, a resident in the township, interested in looking at if that property could potentially be going to auction, because they've been flipping houses in the area, and they really want to improve the quality of some of the housing in Paccon. So that's something I think we should think about for not only this property, but also for those additional ones that your team is researching.
For foreclosure, Kevin?
Yes.
And again, I'll supplement my report since you brought it up. I do have all the searches now for that kind of about 13 properties. So, some of which I have very high outstanding tax numbers. But, so that complaint, we'll get that electronically filed before the end of the year. So that next year, we'll some of those might redeem. Whatever doesn't redeem, either get a nice tax bill, some of which might, but some of which will have property. And I have experienced some pretty good redemptions on those. And other municipalities, you know, they're old rights, they don't want to lose. But, yeah, we will own whatever isn't redeemed next year.
Okay.
That's what that was last quarter, third quarter next year.
And I know we've got general store, because I wanted to ask about that, but I'll wait for that. Wanda, with regard to the tennis courts down in Vangelli, did we ever get any, quotes back for those?
I reached out to 5 different people. Only one called me back and told me he was very busy, and it already reached the end of the season now, so he said he will provide me a quote for the end of the year, early January, that would be good through spring when they could do the work.
Additionally, I met with the CFO. She's still evaluating banks for the township. There won't be any action taken or transfer until after Edmonds is set up, which is on the agenda for this evening. The other thing, we've had some challenges with a few employees and pensions. So what she's done is she's put together some new hire questionnaires for a form that's going to go in a new hire packet that Wanda has. She'll also be reaching out to all the department heads with getting a list of the pension participants to ensure that all the data is accurate. So basically, we've had 2 things pop through the transition of one CFO to the other. I wanted her to do a complete review to make sure everybody's set up and that their pensions are straight. In addition, she's looking into another payroll provider. The current one cannot run the retro and current payrolls, which requires a separate payroll run and incurs an expense. They'll also tend to be a little bit more expensive provider, and she thinks she can get a more economical solution there. And then, Mayor, the last thing I want to put on your radar is I've been thinking about this and had some sidebar conversations about possibly getting together a department head meeting, getting everybody on the same page. I appreciate that's going to be difficult, especially with the number of part-time department heads we have, but maybe even just a core abbreviated group, so that we could ensure that communication is running smoothly throughout the township departments. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Mary?
Okay, my report is basically short. A lot of the incidents as far as the health department for septic tanks and cesspools, and a lot of things, most of them are okay, some are not. A lot are unoccupied residences and things like that. There was one rabies activity, and they didn't say where it was. Somebody was bitten by a dog, but that person refused to give any information on the dog, or who owned it or anything, but anyway, so, they can find the animal and administrate rabies exposure treatment for him, but that file's closed. Under food inspections, they must have had, all the places that are in
Quite a
locality.
few on your
And they were all initial, did you notice that?
Yes,
So it's like, I don't know if they never got done?
that I don't know, maybe the law changed, who knows? But most, all of them are satisfactory except for Marshall's Home Goods, that they are conditionally satisfactory. I have no good luck, because I know they don't have like any food or anything, maybe, I don't know, maybe they have a septic or something. They don't go into an explanation, but yeah, it's like all these places, like they can get Walmart and Warren Market and all these places, but they're satisfactory, that's a good thing. When you get into communicable diseases, our report isn't too bad. We've had, so far this year, 2 vaccine preventable diseases and 5 tick-borne diseases, 2 gastrointestinal diseases, and the other infectious diseases we had 8. And then, but there's no outbreak of anything, so I guess we don't have any measles or anything like that here.
And that's a revised report, right? Because didn't the
Yes,
original
the
report have an
original one
outbreak?
said 83, no. Outbreak, yeah, it said 1.
Yeah, I was like, what was the outbreak?
Year to date, 1, yeah, but they also said we had 83 infectious
They wanted
diseases
somebody else's
there. One that called said, hey, should I be moving out of here? But, also, Powhatan has had 2 flu shots given through the health department, so, and I think that's pretty much it. Other than, wait, there's one thing on here. So this is hazmat thing, the reply, and 4 of them are closed, 1 has the status that it's pending, because, they have to get rid of the chemicals that were involved, so that's pending. And that is my report.
I have a question, one, that when I was reviewing bills, and this prompted my memory with the raisins, there was 2 strays noted as being in shelter. How do we get more information about that, and if it's still there, or what kind of strays it is?
That would be our animal control officer. I don't know. He didn't file a report with me. But I know if he finds, it's usually dogs. They don't usually take cats to
Okay.
the shelter.
There was 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were both abused dogs. So they had to take the dogs by our statute, and they have to be quarantined into, they take them to Harmony? No, Dr. Zacchaeus, right?
Yeah, he did take him to Dr. Zaccheo, and then he couldn't hold them any longer, and then I think they
Right.
went to Common
So
Sense.
we had 2 people that got charged with neglect of an animal, and then until they go to court, they have to be held by our animal control. So that's what the bills are. But then,
Do they have to get reimbursed?
yeah, so both cases are still in the works, and the dogs were taken out because we didn't want to keep them in there forever, because it's just a cost to us, and if we don't get reimbursement, then we're stuck with the bill.
Right.
So we immediately worked with Cindy to get the next available court date, and then the dogs are released that day by the prosecutor and the judge, and then it's still they gotta come back still to come to court, and then reimbursement, restitution will be made to the township. We already have the vet bills, and they were submitted to the courts in the casework.
Were they released back to the owners?
One was, one wasn't.
Okay.
Zaccheo is Warren Animal Hospital.
Right. Yeah. So those were the 2 cases at hand.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Chief, do you have a report for us this evening?
I do. This is a report from October 15th to today's date. We've answered 1,290 calls for service in that time. We had 430 motor vehicle stops, and out of that, there was 330 tickets issued. We had 33 arrests since last meeting, 27 investigations were open, and we had 34 motor vehicle crashes within the township. We had a couple, on November 9th, we had a fundraiser where 3 of our officers played in a flag football game, and the money was raised for a Stewartsville boy, 5-year-old boy Grayson, who was diagnosed with cancer. We were able to raise $350 from the POHAT officers donated, and then a total of $2,800 additional was raised from the event that night. We played Washington Township Police Department out at Warren Hills. So that was a fun night. Unfortunately, we lost, but we lost 33 seconds to go, but we lost.
No casualties from the game, I hope?
A couple, but they'll get over it. Nothing that's affecting our work. It's just older days. December 3rd, I'm not sure if everybody saw, but we're having a tree lighting ceremony here, or event at the Township Municipal Building here. It's the police department and the fire department are putting it on. So far, we're gonna, that really big pine tree here, we're gonna be lighting that up, for the month of, from December 3rd to, for the end of until Christmas. We're including, the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts for the town. We've invited the, elementary school to chorus, but they pretty much said they'll be there, but Thursday is the board meeting, so we can't, until the board says yes, we can't advertise that they'll be there. And then, also, Occasions Kitchen is coming. They're gonna be giving out free coffee, hot chocolate, and cookies to anybody that comes. We'll be playing some Christmas carols. We're also gonna have Santa be there for the kids. We'll open up our shed and make it so that the kids can get some photos with Santa, and just have a fun night for the community. So, everybody's invited. If any of the economic development or any other organizations would like to participate, please let me know. More the merrier. I think we need some things in town that, to have some community events, and I think it's a good day.
And this is the time you said that started.
I didn't. 6 o'clock. Yeah, 6 PM it'll be, on the, Tuesday night, December 3rd. The other, the mall, just so everybody knows, we've been hammering them with tickets. We're issuing them every 2 days and we're issuing them directly to the president of the company. His information, we were able to find it, and his address, and we've been mailing him the summonses. So he might get some suspended licenses or something if he doesn't show up. You know, so that's for the property maintenance. And we're issuing them because if we give it to Mr. Rossi, he, by our ordinance, has to give a warning where we don't have to. So we are specifically taking that over and just issuing every couple of days when they don't comply with what we tell them they have to comply with.
Do you send the summonses return receipt?
We give it to the mall manager, and he signs off that he got it, and he sends it there, so that's on them. All we have to do is give it to the address known, and if he doesn't show up, that's on him, the judge will deal with him then. It's like,
What state is he with?
New York, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, so, but, each time is I think it starts with a $500 fine, and then it can go up, every single time, and we can issue, every day if we want to, but we've been doing it like every other day, and keep issuing them summonses.
Just what kind of violations are you finding, Chief?
Oh, the potholes, the parking lot's a mess, it's dirty, they still haven't even fixed the sinkhole from the last time I dealt with them. They still have a cone on it, all electrical boxes from the, light stanchions that are falling over, they're open to the public, so we took pictures of everything, and we're taking pictures every time we go up, so that we have evidence, because it's time-stamped on the cameras, so we can show no improvements been made. So they're begging us already to stop issuing, and we told them too bad. So,
No effort to
No effort to
repair,
fix
do
it.
anything?
no,
Lopat doing the same as well, or not?
no.
Lopat's part is demolished, Mayor.
I mean, they still have some part of the mall, but this is basically we're doing it based off the parking lot, because the ordinance says they have to maintain it, and they're not maintaining it at all. They're not maintaining anything, so we're just gonna keep hitting.
I'm sure at some point that's gonna come to a head, hopefully sooner than later.
That's all I have.
Chief, can you get them for the catch basin too?
That's
Public's
the
not
one,
really involved there, probably
Yeah.
not.
Thanks to that.
yeah, we're only getting them, the ordinance only says for the parking lot, driveways.
Oh, okay, we can't do
It's
that.
specific to what we can and can't do, for the ordinance.
Yeah, okay.
Just keep going, we'll get our tax dollars back again.
$1,000 a clip, we'll get it one day, right?
All right, thank you, Chief.
I was gonna say, too, I don't know, I may want to ask our judge, but somebody told me that there's some new director or something that they can't issue municipal court bench warrants for, zoning violations, property maintenance ordinance violations. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, with the new bail reform, and it's even for,
There's no teeth to the summons, you can't, so, just so you guys know that, and that's not the chief's fault. But I was flabbergasted to hear that, because, you know, you get a summons in the mail, you don't show up, first time you get a notice, second time, or third time if I
yeah, if you don't have the money to pay, you go to jail.
They can't
But
do
you
that.
can't do that anymore. Not with the new bail reform. We're not, I think
I was
that,
flabbergasted, okay, man, because I don't go to municipal court anymore.
yeah, the figure's $500 for us. If we have somebody that has a $500 warrant, we can take them to jail, but if it's less than that, we can't.
That's, if they don't pay the fines, Chief, can you lien the property then, or not?
We can't even have court dates if they don't show up.
What? No, there's still court dates and they'll still get failure to appears.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, I'll find that answer out and have an answer for you in December. I'll talk to the judge myself.
Was that the court that decreed this, or was it our Democratic legislature?
The bail reform that came out of.
The second of the two,
Yeah. I was
Half
shocked
an
to hear
answer.
that.
I'm not surprised.
All right, thank you, Chief. And as for myself, I had a meeting with Steve Barsh, is it, Wanda?
Yes.
Steve Barsh, I attended, the chief was there as well, and Wanda, for our health insurance for all our employees. The way it looks, and correct me if I'm wrong, Wanda, but we could actually realize a potential savings at the end of the year, was that correct?
Yes, it looks like it'll be the same as last year, if not less.
Right, so that's one good thing for our budget for next year. Our health insurance will not be any more than it was last year, which I was amazed. As far as health insurance goes, that's almost unheard of, but there was some different things they did, and the coverage is actually, wouldn't you say the coverage was better, Chief, or as good or better than what we had before?
It's similar, and some parts are better, than what we had before.
So that was a good thing. Before we know it, it'll be time to work on budgets next year, so that's something to keep in the back of our mind. Other than that, I don't really have a whole lot else to report. The county, I will mention that the county is going to, I believe they received a grant, and our freeholder Kern is organizing a meeting for a third-party traffic study for the whole county, for all industrial zone areas. I guess this is kind of a knee-jerk reaction to what's happening up in White Township with the potential for some large warehouses in White. I plan to attend. I believe it's going to be at the Dumont Building. I don't have the date in front of me, but it's quickly approaching. So I will have a report back on what the findings are on this traffic study and feasibility of these industrial lands in the county. And we are affected a little bit. It mentioned all the communities. There was a map attached. Nothing very concentrated in one area, but each community has potential for traffic impact. There are additional warehouses. And with that said, there was a notice in my mailbox from Alpha that there's going to be two proposed, and I don't know whether they were approved or not. The hearing was on the 14th. Two warehouses in the industrial park, both 300,000 square feet plus. I am going to follow up tomorrow with our assessor to find out exactly where this is going to be. I have a feeling this is going to be located along Edge Road on a newly constructed side street coming out of the industrial park. And this will affect our township with traffic, so I'm going to follow up tomorrow and see where this is and whether or not it was approved.
I was just going to say, there's another road too that goes into the industrial park. You have Edge Road and then another road.
Right, Chief and I were talking, and that's Avenue A that branches off in the industrial park. This street here, Mary, they're calling it Standard Street, which I've never heard of it before.
New road.
Right, so I'm thinking this is probably the cross section that comes next between Beeler and Hunter Transformer that links up to the industrial park with Edge Road. So if this proposed warehouses are on the corner there, this is definitely going to affect traffic on Edge Road. So
There's only one resident on the Edge Road, correct?
correct, right there next to 78. I'm trying to think, I did know who it was. It was the daughter of someone from Mashpee, but that's, well, I shouldn't say that. There's one there, but then Jim Red's old house is down the street as well. You know where that was, Mary? That's closer to 122. But it's a lone house just like the other ones. So there are two houses on Edge.
And those are in Alphabet, correct?
Yes, correct. But,
Can we consider weight restricting our end of Red Edge?
I asked, it's a through street, I asked that before. It's actually a designated truck route because of the tunnel, and any trucks that go down that way end up going up Edge because they can't go through the tunnel. But I think it's something we should think about. I've had numerous, the planner wants to have a joint meeting between Greenwich, Alpha, and us to talk about these proposed sites where this could happen. And then for us, we're gonna end up with a truck with no benefit, so I don't see how it really benefits our town by wanting to improve that road, but I'll sit and listen. But if they do these and the trucks use the road, I don't know what we're gonna do, so like you said, it's something we need to think about.
I mean, that was the concern we had, moving with warehousing going in and going out of farms.
Correct.
So we want to send it out the backside and not through the town and congest it.
Well, the trucks won't go through the back line, they'll be in Alpha. So it's that part of the road which will get all the damage and have to be repaired. But the
Well,
back
not-
line part, they can't bid on because it goes through the tunnel.
Yeah, but they can still try to go the other way.
122.
They could either get out on 122, yes, that end is Alpha, okay? That intersection of 22 and Edge, or 122 and Edge would have to be improved. I sat there for 20 minutes the other day with a truck trying to get out, and it just, at 5 o'clock, it's terrible. So I couldn't imagine how they could throw any traffic. Right, forget about it. So, they're gonna have to do something with off-site improvements. That end is their end, so if they wanna improve it, that's up to them. But as far as our end of Edge Road and Still Valley was never designed for trucks, to begin with. The road itself is terribly crammed. 2 cars have a hard time even passing on it. So I guess this is something we need to keep in the back of our mind, and maybe I can reach out. Did Alpha get a new mayor?
No, they didn't.
Same mayor?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, maybe I can reach out to him and see what his thoughts are, what they're thinking, and go from there.
600,000 square feet is 600 trucks a day or so.
Yeah, I don't know what the ratio is, but I know 300,000 sounds big. I know the
We
lot.
said it were 300,000.
Right, 300,000,
Yeah.
correct.
Well, that's what they were talking about in our town. It was 600,000 or 700,000 square feet, and that was about 750 trucks a day.
Well, I know in this notice, they were looking for all kinds of waivers, side yard setback, front yard setback, maximum percentage of impervious coverage. So it sounds like they're gonna be building edge to edge. I know the property, if it's the one I'm thinking of, wasn't very big. It was like 8 or 9 acres to begin with, but there was 2 properties, but there's a high tension line in between them, which they can't build under, I don't believe. I don't know, I said, it's something I'm gonna follow up with our assessor tomorrow and find out a location, and then, talk to Alpha and see what I can find out. But this is something that could definitely impact our town, with traffic. Yeah, that, if they would come boarding,
Because Avery's firm is the applicant, no pretty much is a conduit.
right.
It's interesting, but that refuses it, because
Right, absolutely. And that's why I say that 3 communities would all have to, because if any one of us said we're not allowed or not gonna approve it, would put it in the whole shoot match. But that's about all I have, Ingrid.
Did we get any information on the traffic impact study from Phillipsburg for that monstrous Ingersoll Rand site?
Not that I'm aware of. Does anybody else? Wanda?
Mm-mm. Not to me.
It's our next door.
There were studies, this council, joined in, I think, a pretty strong letter to DOT.
Many, right.
About, before, asking for additional traffic studies, and we were basically, we thought.
It's gonna be real interesting to see what goes in
There are
out of
traffic
that.
studies, but.
That one intersection they put in,
Yeah, you could offer them for.
you know, I mean, just past the diner, they put in that one intersection for that whole place on
Yeah.
22. That's gonna be real interesting.
Yeah, we can get them.
I mean, but just to give you an
I think
idea-
we ought to know what that quantity is gonna be with regards to this quantity.
Yeah, and we weren't technically within 200 feet as a township for that project, so we didn't, but we did participate, we did ask DOT for a lot more stuff.
Yeah, but our town was gonna join that
But
property.
that was, the PACCON did, they had issues previously, I believe. But it's mostly DOT jurisdiction there, and they're gonna do it. We can get the studies up if you want, we're sure, yeah.
But just to give you some reference, when a previous applicant came in front of the land use board, excuse me, referencing, it was like 100 trucks per hour. And that wasn't peak even. So, and that's dwarfed compared to the size of everything going up in that site.
You'd never get out.
No, it's not.
No.
No, they actually have a
Japanese clothing.
clothing, correct. Correct.
But that's only building one.
That's
Right,
Mhm.
right, what, 5?
That's only one building, the one you can see on the highway. There's 4 or 5 other ones going up.
They said there's one in the back that's even bigger than the one out front,
Mhm.
that's what I had heard.
Mayor, I have one just for tomorrow. Snyder's Road is going to be closed, from 9 AM till about noon, between Overly and River Road. The county road department is doing, the drainage,
Pipe, yeah.
yeah, they're putting pipe across the roadway. So the foreman came today and asked me if we could close it, because it's just not feasible to have the trucks. So trucks will be coming out of Bear Aggregates and going River Road, up to Carpentersville Road, and then down to Overly, for that short duration tomorrow. We have no other choice, because it's an emergency construction that has to be done.
We got another notification, didn't we, about another road that's gonna be impacted because of a traffic light or something that's...
That's Route 122, Route 22.
New Development, they're gonna be shutting down the road there. The lane closures,
Yeah.
right? That was,
Mhm.
Will there be signage where Creek Road and River Road meet for people that maybe could just continue on Creek Road so that they know they can't go, because we do have a lot of traffic that cross River and then they make that right turn. Maybe if you had a sign where there's quite a lot of people from Pennsylvania that come up and make that, maybe there's some sort of alert where Creek and River Road meet.
because Creek and River is still closed to the bridge now.
No, it's open.
They just opened that, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
open.
So, I can ask the road department to do it. It's a county job. I don't know if they're going to, but they can go through. It's only, he's saying noon, but he's hoping it's only till 11. So it's a 2 to 3 hour window, but they're doing it after rush hour, so they're not starting it till 9 AM. And they already worked with Bear Aggregates to get all the trucks out by 9 AM. So they're not starting until Bear Aggregates calls and says all the trucks are out for morning delivery. So that was already worked on. So we're hoping no trucks have to go, but in case they do, that's the route they're gonna have to take until it's open.
Okay.
Mayor, just a question for, did we ever hear back from Kim Grenier about the railroad stuff?
I didn't actually put notes myself, follow up, since I hadn't seen what she's writing, and seen it in mine, so I don't know.
All right, with that, that's the end of Township Council reports. Moving on now, we have someone here for the Ribblesville store, I believe. Please come forward and give us an update on the Ribblesville General Store property. I got a phone call from Kurt Weiss, I believe it was Friday, stating that he was not able to make this evening's meeting, and he may be there. Yes.
I'm not electric, I'm not cursed, I'm not there, I'm not the rest of the group, and they called me at 7:15.
And I got calls 10 minutes ago.
And I said, Michael, I'm here.
Do you have any updates for us on the property?
The updates is what Kurt gave you in the letter, and what is to be done at this point. Another meeting next week.
Do we have that letter?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it, it wasn't in the packet, but now I'm trying to find it myself.
So, Steve.
It's number 4.
Who was on the council a long time ago, I think, when he went and sent it to the audit. So he asked you just to kind of take a look at the file, and just refresh the current council's recollection. You guys have been living this, I guess, but we acquired this property from the paper company in 2004. I have the copies of it, if you guys want it, but when we acquired the property, there was a deed restriction that basically required the property to be restored to, NJ, SHPO, New Jersey Historical Preservation Office standards. And then that was binding on us as the original grantee from the Ribblesville Paper Company, and we they, Stone Soup, we went out to auction, they purchased it at the time, I think it was $148,000.
Yeah, it was.
And so those, as were required, those historic preservation restrictions, the gypsum, I always say it, but restrictions carried through the Stone Soup. And then we actually added a few more of our own, which I think we've alluded to before. One was to get, just reading in 24 months from delivery of the deed, which was in June of 2005. So basically by June of 2007, about 12 years ago, we were supposed to have a new roof, windows and doors, all improvements to be in compliance with historic preservation restrictions. That was the idea at the time, was to try to stabilize it. I think the idea was that it was still in reasonably good condition at this point. And so that's kind of where we are. For whatever reason, none of that kind of happened. I guess maybe part of the roof was started, and now, I don't know, I guess, I parked my car there and bicycle with my daughter down River Road. It's a nice run, and I go around Oakley, and nice little 14-mile loop, and I park it there in that parking lot. It looks pretty bad. I don't know. I don't even know who the architect, whether that salvage going on. I don't know. It's pretty rough shape. So that was what precipitated all this. Basically, over a decade worth of inaction. And I have a little bit of a legal concern. I don't think we as a township have any exposure to the New Jersey State Historic Preservation Office, but they do have enforcement authority, technically speaking, in this, and we were allowed to convey to you guys to keep with those restrictions, and their authority would follow through to you guys. They have one of the restrictions says they can require restoration and recover all expenses and everything. There's some pretty strict requirements here. So there's some exposure going all the way around for people, and I don't know where you guys can go from here. Obviously, there's no very good down there, and that's why we originally council directly send a letter to kind of try to bring it to a head and see what they're doing.
And so that's where we are at, is the letter, so you see where we're headed.
So my big concern is, we met 2 months ago with Kurt and Michael King, and I was looking for some tangible dates and milestones and stuff. This is all intention, right? I don't see that here in this letter. There's no exactly no timetable. I actually asked for a project plan, and this is, it still seems to be some, and I appreciate that from your internal perspective, it may not feel this way, but this letter to me is more of the same, where we're just sort of delaying.
And then also about buying out everybody's shares.
Yeah, I want to give you some background so people can understand. So I was here 2 months ago with Kurt as kind of a favor. Kurt wanted to bring me in to help out because I hadn't been involved with the group for 2 years. So the rest of the group didn't necessarily want me involved, or some key members. So I pretty much kind of stepped away. I haven't done anything. Kurt is the one in charge of this. So Kurt is the one spearheading everything. I have no idea why Kurt chose to be away today. I don't know why. There are other members of the group who are kind of taking the reins. They were supposed to be here. Audrey. So I basically came because Barbara was thrown into this, which I don't think is fair to throw her into this. Because I think
I just
Audrey...
got this letter, so.
I appreciate it.
And I saw the letter first.
We're not going to kill you as the
I understand.
She is part of the group.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, but not a controlling member. So you figure Kurt Weiss is the controlling member and the one who has full charge of all this. So he was trying to do something with me.
Michael, you haven't been employed then? You were
No,
here?
I have not received a dollar.
The impression that was given to me, and I don't know about the other members of the council, was that you were being employed to take this work on.
Well, and what happened was Kurt Weiss tried to retain me, so to do the work. Then they had a meeting of Stone Soup, and Stone Soup decided not to do it. So that happened just over like a month ago, a month and a half ago, something like that. I don't know why.
Did you participate in that meeting?
She was not one of the ones who was part of that.
So you don't have any information on it either?
Yeah, it was basically Audrey Cross, Steve Gambino. Those were the two who were leading it. Jeff Tejuan as a member of the group. So they basically wanted to do it all on their own.
but they did nothing.
They did nothing, so I even went to a meeting, and I'm not getting paid for this, but I went to their meeting, sat down with them, I gave them a full plan, like an agenda of what to do, how to kind of organize the group a little bit better, what to do with the store, kind of some options, what to do with the store.
Have you physically been inside it?
I have.
Do you feel it's a salvage?
Yeah, and actually, I did go in there with my structural engineer and a conservator, so to make sure, like, I didn't want to waste my time either. If it was something that was worthy of bulldozing, I would have said that, but it's not at this point, it's still salvageable.
Do you have a copy of the report from your engineer or not?
I can write one, but I mean, I just went through it with him, and we all were brainstorming, so it isn't a written report.
Is the Otis elevator still?
It is, and that, yeah, there's a
Is it
little,
still workable?
and then, well, I mean, you can get it, all the tiers are still there.
I mean,
Salvageable is one thing, but how much,
Yeah, at what?
at what price?
Yeah.
You know, I can say this, several years ago, Barry Heinrichs, who we all know, he's an outstanding carpenter, talked to Kurt several times and told him, and I talked to Barry the other day, and he said, it's okay to use his name. And because I said, I did do that. I talked to Kurt, I told him I would give him the scaffolding he needs, I would help him for free to stabilize it, to finish the roof. He said, why he did the roof that way is moronic. You know, no one leaves the bottom half or a third of a roof where all the water's going to go down and into the building, you know. But, he told he would help him for free. And Kurt said, no, we don't want anything. So I don't understand Kurt's mentality at all. But it's been almost 15 years, and it's too long. It's just too long. You know, and what I would propose is that, you know, give you guys, not you, since you're really not, I mean, you're helping as a friend, but, as the way I read it, but you're not really on the payroll or anything. I'd give him another month or two to come up with something. If not, I'd have the building inspector come in and let him render an opinion. If it needs to be condemned and torn down, it needs to be condemned and torn down.
Yeah.
Property still worth something, you still got the property,
And
but
that's exactly what I was thinking.
that would be, I don't know if you want to do a motion or something to memorialize
Why
that.
don't we just do a motion to that effect, so it's
That would
on
be
the
it.
docket?
And, I mean, you're making us look like fools too. We did this, and I might have been the mayor, I was on council at least when this happened. What was it?
You were the mayor.
It was a mayor, and I was really all on board.
you signed the deed?
I signed it, I signed it, yeah. I was really on board with it. It was a great idea, but you gotta do something, you know, and
It was a really noble effort. that they-
believe me, I fixed a lot of junk,
I
but,
remember being inside of it at that time, and it was like really great inside. I mean, there was still a lot.
the second floor of the school, the staircase, I was in a general store.
Up on the second floor without any, fear of falling through or anything like that.
I was in a general store down in Maryland when I was a kid, because I had a friend that had, his grandparents had a farm down there, a little town of Scarborough, and, northern Maryland. Very similar building, and you walked in, the staircase wasn't in the middle, but it was off to the side, but on the second floor, they had a full balcony and everything. I can still visualize this today, and I was like 8 years old, 10 years old. And yeah, they had, it was a time warp general store, and on the second floor, you had bicycles and sleds and baby carriages and all this stuff for sale. And downstairs was all the general store stuff, canned goods and whatever. I mean, they sold everything. It was just like that place probably was 100 years ago, It's a shame that it's been let go, but it's been let go.
So, we have an enforcement paragraph in the restriction, I'm probably not telling you anything you don't know, though, probably haven't looked at that deed in a long time, so we had a provision there that we make a good faith attempt to resolve any disagreement, so I think we're getting towards the end of exhausting that, and then, again, barring that, we have the ability to go to court and see, what in this case, an affirmative injunction, compelling you to do the work, or and that includes all kinds of other things, attorney fees and costs and everything else. And certainly not my preference to generate more work for myself, but I do think.
We are meeting, we are.
I was gonna say,
And hopefully we will have.
I'd love to see you talk about maybe consolidating some of the ownership or something, or people.
So we'll see what happens. There's another meeting next week, and hopefully we will have answers.
So I would, along the lines of Steve, this is what I was thinking, I would propose at the next meeting that we have what we asked for this meeting.
What's that date? What is the date of the next meeting, do you know?
December 15th, I want to say, but let me get it.
So it's 4 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 weeks.
Well, it's what we asked them to have for today, so
Yeah.
to me, that's...
So give them 4 more
than
weeks,
acceptable.
yeah.
And especially if there's already meetings on the books, that I want to see tangible things, I want to see a project plan, I want to see... make sure that
Yeah,
people are
December
involved.
17th.
So-
Okay.
And I-
So do we need to make a motion to that effect?
No, I mean,
I would like to...
Well, I want to memorialize somehow.
Exactly.
okay, well, then, it'll be in the minutes, put it, do a motion to...
What am I saying? A motion to do what?
It's nice that Michael and Barbara stepped in, but I think Kurt should be here.
Yeah,
So that's part of that.
That's the same.
We're just, it would be a motion to extend the deadline for the documentation we've asked for to the next week.
And I would, can we give it more teeth and say, if we don't have any, if we don't have what we're looking for, we'll take action?
That's fine with me. I would say at that point, I would send our building inspector over to look at the building and see, you know, what is to render an opinion, and if it needs to be condemned, it needs to be condemned.
Anticipate that.
You'll be on the 17th.
You're here for the next meeting, Mary.
I know, but I mean after that.
Afterwards?
Well, you're more than welcome to have a seat.
You sit in the galley,
Yeah, I think,
Mary.
I think what would be important is to try to get some kind of retainer with Mike and do something so that you can make, and I think, and I do agree that, I mean, it's kind of important that Kurt, who started this thing, be here at the next one.
Time to walk the talk.
If he's serious about this.
I look at that as not that serious. If this was me, and I had that investment and a piece of property that I thought could really be something, I'd be here to say,
Yeah.
this is what we're gonna do, and I have a plan.
You made that motion?
Yeah, I'll move it.
So you seconded it?
Okay, Babinski? Gray?
Yes.
Melvin?
Yes.
Slack?
Yes.
And Van Loo. Sorry.
Yes, that's right.
Sorry, Martin.
No, I just went out of
Sorry,
sync.
It's a little dysfunctional, but I wish you the best of luck. Yeah.
Thank you very
There's
much.
no harm meant, no.
Yeah, no.
I wanted to succeed.
Hopefully we get it.
Unfortunately,
No, you have bad feelings, I mean,
the
it's,
market and what happens, you know,
Yeah.
Well,
all the time.
you put stuff in here, like looking for an investor to fund the rehabilitation, or find a suitable developer purchaser for the
It's all thought
building.
and-
It's all,
Right, no, that's for-
Although, again, having said that, I think I mentioned when you were here last time, you know, if you got serious investors, you know, there are things that, you know, we're doing, like with the school property, that we
Right. That's why I asked Kurt right out of the get-go when he said he had a buyer. I said, how about a letter of intent?
Well, I was just saying,
Haven't even seen that.
as I mentioned to you, I think, was, you know, that down that area, it begs for some creativity and redevelopment, like we're doing at the school now, we just passed that, possibly doing that at the mall property, so, you know, and there could be very good benefits to investors in terms of pilots and, you know, long-term tax exemptions that actually are good to account for the developer. But they need to do something, that's all. Good luck, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Guys.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Little side note, we did get a grant for Shimer Mansion, so we're going up to the next phase of that. So this, but we're hoping to open Shimer as kind of a community center and a gallery for local artists by October 2020. So we're starting that probably in the springtime. We'll
and
start
that was the house that Sal kept saying,
Great. You like it at the end.
yeah, but you're getting something done
I
there.
saw it.
And you know what? That's a focal point, and it's in a focal point of the town we're living in, too, you know, so-
Oh, yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good, take care. All right, moving on for resolutions. How many do we have here? 4 on that side, it looks like. 5, 6, 7, 8. Does anybody have any issues with any of the resolutions? Any discussion?
I think it's about time we fixed it, that, I think part-time people should be able to go for bereavement and not lose anything, just like a full-time employee.
And there are the last 2 resolutions I would like to know more about.
Okay, authorizing the purchase of electronic purchasing software. That was,
That's the CFO.
that was the CFO and the admins.
If I don't really know anything, about, you know,
So the Edmunds, the electronic purchasing software will prevent departments from going over budget. They'll actually have to follow the law, the legal process with regard to requisitions and approvals, and it'll all be done electronically, so it doesn't have to wait for signatures. It can move quickly and be approved and will give us tighter control.
What does that cost? Any idea?
Yes, I do know, it costs,
And it comes out of this year's budget or next year's budget? or-
there's funds, there's
Funds available this year?
Yes, and no, it's actually, we're gonna put it to next year, I believe.
That's what I wasn't sure if that's legal, Kevin. That was my question on that.
The 2020 budget, I've never seen them do that in a year ahead.
You can't, I don't think you can do that.
They just need an LOI, basically, and they need something to get it set up, because we wanna start this in January.
Okay, it's not to exceed $3,500 and also it's the 2020 municipal budget.
Yeah, and this is, they requested an
Yeah,
LOI.
you can't do that.
It's $3,000, $975 per year starting in year 2. And the goal live would be January 1st, and it would be part of next year's budget.
Can you do that, Kevin?
Could we authorize a letter of intent?
You can authorize a letter of intent, but I did take a look at the resolution. I don't think it's
Yeah.
allocation of funds for a budget year away still it really gets you there. I think she was trying to be creative, and I give her credit for that. But I think we should
Did CFO put that together?
Yeah.
But she should know.
authorize the,
If you can't do that.
Yeah, Kevin, my question more was, we're now past November 1, guys, so we can transfer funds around within budgets where, some have a little surplus, some don't. Is it only like $3,500 or something?
It's
Yeah.
$3,000, and then after...
Why don't we just do this? Why don't we pass this subject to certification of funds in traditional resolution, not referencing 2020, and hopefully she can find it? Because if she can find it a little bit, we can do the resolutions, moving the funds around at the December
Right,
meeting.
right,
Does that make
right.
sense?
That works for me.
Yeah.
That makes sense, Wanda? I think,
So-
Wanda, that's more the traditional way to do it, I would think.
The one below it, is that a similar?
No, that's...
No,
what
in
we
other
talked
words,
about.
this resolution is not going to reference 2020, it's going to be a normal subject to certification of funds. And if she finds the funds somewhere in your budget by December, we can move it around.
So I revise it?
Yes,
So what that one
because
refers...
that resolution's no good as it is, that's it.
Well, can we just say that we're revising that for certification of funds by CFO, not not referencing a year?
Yeah, exactly. And Kevin, reach out to her and ask her if she can find somewhere in the line and get around.
The second one, Steve, is with regard to there was that internal audit we talked about back in July, where we had some antiquated, we had no virus protection, and some server items, and we had discussed that at that time. I think that one may be around $8,000 all in for all of the different upgrades to bring us up to speed. To get one of the operating systems we're going to be using is actually not going to be supported by Microsoft any further. So get us better into compliance, get us in a safer area, not subject to as much virus issues as well as hackers that will do ransomware.
I was just going to ask if it would protect us from that, because they do it to small municipalities.
Yeah, in fact, she referenced for me back in July that there was a small town that got hit with the ransomware, and it was like $300,000 that they got hit for. So
Also,
this,
veterinary got hit with that.
Yeah, it killed them. Absolutely, they got everything.
So this says, the anticipated term of this contract is 1 year through December 31st, 2019. Should that be 2020?
no, because they've already so the situation is the police department has used this group for services already, and there's a threshold of 17.5 that we would come very close to with regard if we were to use them for the proposal we're putting forward today.
For the rest of the year?
Right, because I think yours was around 12 grand for the services that however you pronounce that name? Innovatia.
This is Vacia.
I only used about $2,000.
But the other stuff came from the, EA money or something?
Yeah, out of the township budget.
No, but it doesn't matter, I asked that question, it doesn't matter where the funds came
But
from?
wasn't some of the equipment though, too?
That's what, 12,000 was equipment only, not services.
Not in this week, was it not the same vendor? was it?
Yeah, because they have a Dell contract, so I buy the equipment
So
from
it's Dell,
them.
okay. So they're Dell retail.
Yeah, so like, because they get their Dell discount or whatever, so they purchase me the equipment, but then, I don't know how that works, but IT service-wise,
I only have about $2,000 for the whole year.
So
I have about,
I don't see it. I'm comfortable breaking that part out, because equipment purchases, or the checks are written to this.
they're still written in Mrs.
Vacher.
Yeah, Mrs. Vacher.
So up till the year 12.
Probably about, 13.5 with everything. Off the top of my head.
So, what this resolution would do would be allow us to have them as a professional service. Now, there seems to be some debate. Kevin has mentioned that we may not be able to have an IT provider serve as that. The CFO has said that she's seen where IT providers have been recognized as professional services. She actually reached out to a QPA, qualified purchasing agent, to see if she could get the exact language. However, she's at the lead, they're at the lead, municipalities down in AC right now. So it wasn't necessarily available in front of this meeting. So that may or may not be applicable. I don't know, Kevin, if you want to speak to that.
Well, so we have, under the local public contract law, $17,500 bid threshold. I would love to change that and find us our own qualified purchasing agent. I was talking to one about that earlier. Maybe we could find somebody to share. That would increase us to $40,000, but that's marvelous. Right now, we're stuck at $17,500. So even though the equipment and the IT services are from common sense standpoint, are separate things, if we're getting them both from the same vendor, and now we're going to spend another $8,000, you're over that $17,500. If DCA comes in here and audits one of its books, they're going to say, hey, you got to keep those together, you're over, you didn't fit it, and then we get in trouble, they were in trouble.
So can we...
So what I said to Kevin, I called Kevin about this, I said, my understanding of, now that the professional service thing ties in, that's exempt from any threshold. So, like when you guys, if you guys do an RFP for professionals, engineer, attorney, whatever, that's fair and open, doesn't matter. But even if you don't, you can enter in a contract with me on a year, which you guys do like every 3 or 4 years. So in a non-RFP year, I do what's called a non-fair and open contract with you guys. It doesn't matter that it exceeds $17,500, but I have a license. Engineers have a license. Accountants have a license, and you have to go to audit. My understanding of that exception is it has to be a professional license. So an IT, although I'm not saying they're not professional people, and obviously have a lot of skills, I don't know, I haven't seen anything that says that they're covered. I don't mind doing it, and if she finds out it is, then it's there. If it's not, then you can still do it, but then you have to, instead of having exceed $17,500, you'd have to say not to exceed.
Yeah.
And then you can spend like $5,000 or whatever's left of $17,500 until next year. We're only a month away from January.
May I
Yeah, but the
speak?
challenge
I
that...
guess
But
what's,
then you're trying to get all
So there's two things. The challenge that I was told by the CFO is that it's not a calendar year. It's actually an annual basis. So if the work for the chief started in May, it would be made in May.
No,
Yeah.
No, it's a calendar year. Absolutely.
It's a budget year.
What's confusing for me is it says that this is adopted tonight, November 19th, but it says the anticipated term of this contract
Yeah,
is
it's
1
just
year
15
through
years,
December 2019. But that's not, so is this backdating something?
No, what this is this approach would allow us not to be under the 17.5 threshold. You're saying that you're hiring a professional to handle your IT services for the township for the 2019 calendar year. So up to this point, we've utilized their services, but we were bound by the threshold.
Now I get it.
If we are able to adopt this, then we would not be necessarily bound by the threshold.
Thank you.
Okay,
The question is, the legal question is,
But do we have a contract for that?
no.
Because that's the other problem, this is authorized when they execute a contract, we don't have one.
so that never came in?
No. May I speak? Because I don't mean to be obstructionist about this at all, but you had mentioned, Councilman Melvin, in the July meeting, as you had stated, that the CFO was making a lot of recommendations for software upgrades, a new server and things like that, and that she was going to be providing a proposal, which I've never seen. Council hasn't been able to discuss it further. And I'm wondering if, like I said, I'm not against changing from what we have to another provider. But the reason that our ransomware and software is what it is because we were always told before, oh, get the free, you know, the free software, the free,
This
what do you call
council doesn't have to
that,
be held
spyware?
by the sins of the previous councils and using free stuff that's not gonna...
I know, but then I'm saying we also have another company that would also provide this service, so maybe it would behoove you to get, find out what we want and get a quote or something for both.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't have a contract, so we can't move it forward.
And I think we've been asking for one, so.
Yes, so she's asked, Wanda's asked,
I did finally just get all the pay-to-play documents from him on Monday, and he was very nice. Like I said, I don't have any objection, but I don't know exactly what the goal is, because it all hasn't been fully communicated to me, and that's software and IT is not my thing. But I kept telling him, I need the proposal, like the resolution clearly states, like, if you want me to advertise this, that the vendor has provided a proposal, it shall be advertised within 10 days. I don't feel comfortable.
You have to advertise it after we award it, that's what I'm saying.
Right, and even Fair and Open, you have to advertise it for all the professionals. So, without making these expenditures, we're not anywhere near over the bid threshold
Right.
of 17.5, but if you want to make these expenditures, that's putting you over. And that was my question, what are we buying? Like, what is this proposal?
let's table this.
Well, or
And then why don't we-
if we know there's like, really about $4,000 in flow, because we're at 13, about 13, I would estimate 13.5.
Right, but if,
We can authorize the IT stuff right now, not to exceed 17.5, and then if we decide that you can do the professional services, we can set up.
Why don't we just, like Wanda said...
I feel more comfortable with an actual proposal.
Yeah, I'm just trying to...
because what Lou had said to me when I talked to him, he said, I have to look at everything again, because I talked to her in May, what we've talked about, prices change, I have to look at everything again. And he said he wasn't even sure what we were talking about, because he had made so many recommendations, he didn't know what we were selecting, what the agreement should actually include. So there's like a breakdown in communication.
So let's just table it for this month. We'll take action in December.
We'll do 6 now, so...
Well, you know what, and at that point, why don't you wait till January, and then you've got your whole full year, and then you're good to go.
I'd rather take action, and if we can take action with this calendar budget, I'd rather do that.
But you don't want to solicit quotes for whatever we decide to do?
Well, it's gonna be above, well, again, professional services, we don't have.
There's a threshold, and when it goes over that, then we either have to go up to 3 phone calls to get prices.
I'm open to getting additional bids, especially as long as, I want to take action in December. There's too much of this stuff, where stuff sits for month to month to month. We keep seeing examples of that over and over again, so I want to take action at next month's meeting.
All right, so we're going to take 7 resolutions, and we're going to table number 8, correct?
Is it, I don't know, I really don't even know what I heard right now. All I know is I had, this is as my IT, am I allowed to still use them?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. You're good, Chief.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna take 7 and table number 8.
Then we're changing the 7th one, the verbiage of the 7th one.
Okay?
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, Babinski? Gray?
Yeah.
Melvin?
Yes.
Van Loo?
Yes.
Slack?
Yes. Okay, moving on, review and discussion, 2019 Best Practices Inventory Program. Everybody in their packet should have had the list. Wanda, do you want to go over this with us?
Okay, the best practices, list of questions was greatly expanded to like 85 questions, I think it was. But some they didn't grade, it was just for, to get an idea from all the different municipalities on where they are. We had a score of 40, so we are not losing any municipal aid. Janelle and I completed that together.
Was there any areas, Wanda, that we could have a yes where it's a no? Is there things that we can change or do differently?
So I believe that the requisition stuff that we're putting together may assist there.
Okay?
Well, there was one that I thought should be a yes, and Janelle thought would be a no, so I just went with it, which was backup for our server, because she was arguing that it's not kept off-site, but it is, because Carrie takes the tapes and takes it off-site, and it's also backed up at municipal software. So, yeah, I think we're in pretty good shape all the way around. There was one thing that these professional service contracts have to say a not-to-exceed amount, which we currently do not do, but it's something that they want us to do, so Danelle and I talked about it, and we're going to work together to do that when we do the budget. Like, when I do the resolutions for professionals for reorg this year, I'll work with Danelle and see what we budgeted last year, and then just put, a not-to-exceed that amount. Because I figure it's kind of hard to have a crystal ball, like labor attorney. You don't know what it's going to be. If you're going to need them, you sort of hope not,
Are you using like a standard 20% or something?
Well, when you're saying not to exceed, that's sort of carved in stone. That's why I don't like to put it.
Take whatever X is, if it's $1,000, you say not to exceed 20%, then that becomes $1,200, right?
Right. But like in some cases, like if bond counsel, how much you bond, that shouldn't be that hard. Labor counsel can be difficult because we have years where we don't budget much, and then where there might be an issue where you have to spend some money. So you just have to put your best. But that's why I didn't like putting the not to exceed, because I don't want to marry anything. But, and I thought we'd work together and try to come up with some good numbers.
I suggest everybody takes this and reviews it, make notes, and if there's anything that we can change or get a yes check next year, moving forward, just looking through it, there's some that I'm sure we could work on, but I guess the main objective is to keep our score 30+, which we're well above that at this point.
Are we going to talk about this next meeting then?
No, it's done. Council really has no say in it. Well, the CFO and the clerk have to fill it out. It's already submitted and done.
All right, so we're good, but I'm saying moving forward next year, if there's things that we think we can work on between now and then.
They always come up with new questions.
Yeah, I said there was a question in there that says, does the township have an electric vehicle charging station? And at some point, I hope we do, so that would be a yes where there's a no, but has that come back before?
No?
No. It's pushed off the land use agenda a number of times, for the Wawa charging stations, and haven't come back yet.
That's too bad.
But it is in the works.
There was issues there, and I forget what it was. They were having trouble, what was something with Wawa? I forget.
Something about ownership and and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right.
I have a comment on number 28, about the website, having all this stuff available, solicitations, RFPs, meaning the minutes and agendas were governed by the planning board, board of adjustment, and all commissions. When I sat in on the open space commission, where, you can get our minutes up. And then if you go to the website and look for the minutes from these commissions, I don't think that they have them up. And I don't know if they are aware that they should be setting, what, you, Rhonda? You
Yeah.
put them up?
I get them from everybody, but I don't think I have from open space.
So we don't even have, like, the meeting not held in that spot. But if we did, maybe that would satisfy that.
Yeah.
And when you get any regular minutes from any of these commissions?
Yes, the Land Use Board, the Historic Commission, Environmental Commission, the Open Space and Economic Advisory are the newest, but we do post them.
And what's the standard for having a meeting and having those minutes available? What's the municipal standard for that?
What do you mean, municipal standard?
Like, if we had a council meeting, when would the minutes be expected to be available to the public?
Once they're approved by the governing body. So sometimes It depends on how busy the office is or how busy, for me, it sometimes takes like 2 months usually.
I think it's, when I worked for Reddington Lebanon Sewer Authority, we had to have them done within 10 days and I had to have them out to the board members, and they had to be approved at the next meeting. That was like a statute.
It's not a
There's no-
statute,
yeah,
there's no statute.
regulatory requirement for
The
timeframes on these.
Division of Local Government Services says as long as it's within 90 days, they don't see anything.
Well, I thought it was under the Open Public Meetings Act.
No.
No.
And our videos of all our meetings are available on the website, so if anybody has any real question, it's right there.
Although we do need to, I mean, you just opened up something for me. The quality of the audio is horrible.
Is it?
Yes. So I think, I don't know if it's because the mics aren't positioned right, but I went back and I listened to a couple of them, and you can hear when the HVAC kicks on, and it's very difficult and challenging. You come through crystal clear. So parts of the system work, but other people you can't hear. You know, maybe it's certain mics, I'm not sure.
I notice it sometimes, I hear the HVAC when I'm typing minutes, and I'm playing it back, but I never watch the video on the website.
More the directional, which, who needs to spend money, but a directional microphone would help aimed at each one of our voices, would filter out the other
Yeah.
noise, background noise in the room. But I have no idea what that would cost.
When we do court,
Right.
you have to actually bring this closer
To your
so
mouth.
that you can, as you.
Yeah, until you got to right there, you couldn't hear it over the system.
Right,
Yeah.
so we have to do this for court, it specifically has to be closer so that you can.
Yeah. No.
All right, moving on. We have no ordinances for first reading, no ordinances for second reading. We have some motions, if everybody would take a look at the motions, if there's any questions on the motions.
Just the ones that those are association things that want to be done, not fire company things, correct?
Yes.
Is that a typo one? Is that, online auction December 8th, or was that supposed to be the 18th?
I think it says the 8th.
Yeah, I thought it was the 18th when I originally read, but I could be wrong. Okay,
So, since they're all, taking those all at once, you guys have given me direction to go back to Max Payne and try to accelerate doing something with this thing, so I did. So, I talked to Max, he sent over a contract, he's got an auction coming up. It doesn't cost you guys anything, so in my view, this is a no harm shot at trying to get rid of it.
You can only bid online?
It's gonna be online only this one.
Okay.
It costs us nothing, we're still gonna do all the blast flyers and everything.
Now,
We
is
can
this,
put it on the website if you want, or whatever
What's
else.
the day?
Um,
The 8th?
I'm trying to,
It doesn't say it in this agreement that I see that I'm scanning.
also, by the way, I did tell him, and it's in the contract, you guys can establish, an undisclosed, minimum if you want. I think we should. So we should maybe have a 2-second executive pick that, so we don't announce it.
is this done like eBay, when the time is up, you have to have the highest bid in, or does it just keep going until the last person calls uncle?
I don't know.
I would think we'd have to have a time
Usually
frame.
it's time.
Is the time, yeah?
Maybe a 15-minute rule or something at the end, but, I would think we'd have to, have a deadline.
I don't see it on Facebook.
I don't know if that's...
Well, I
You
know
said it in the email.
auctions but they
Oh,
actually
yes, no,
have to keep going until,
December 18th.
nobody does one bid in a minute.
Right,
Then,
right.
but a lot of times, they just cut off at 10 o'clock on the dot, the last
Kevin, it's not in the agreement, it must have been his email.
I got it, it's an email, December 18th.
Okay, sorry about that.
It is the 18th.
Yeah, see.
That's all.
So if you want to do this, I see, again, it seems to be no harm foul, I think we should,
Well, if we put a reserve, then,
yeah, we should do that in
Yeah.
executive, so it's not announced, because we don't want everybody to know what our reserve is.
$1 million.
We need the money.
A non-disclosure reserve.
Can we have a quick executive session?
Yeah, one.
Do you want to do that now, or should we adopt the motion?
Adopt the motion, we'll pick the reserve and do something else.
Okay.
I'll just make a motion to take all of them together.
I'd like to add one to it also is, 'cause I know we didn't do this, I think, last year, until it was too late in the game, is, the professionals for next year, to solicit RFPs.
When's the deadline for that, Wanda?
You have to advertise for 20 days, so do you want to do all professionals?
Yeah. Anybody who's due.
Especially the attorney.
We have
You want
a-
to do RFPs this year for next year?
Yes.
Yeah, you still have time. Yeah.
Well, I just want to get it on the docket so that we get it approved and get it out before you do it.
Now, if we don't have time to do it.
Right, we're making that as an additional motion.
What kind of, we don't have to, if we had an attorney who said, I'll do it for $45 an hour, we don't have to take that.
No, you don't, you can do, in fact, you can hire somebody who doesn't even submit a proposal.
All right, so.
Good. But if you do the RFP, the nice thing is, next year, Wanda can check that as a yes box on your,
Yeah.
on your best practice. And who knows, maybe you'll find somebody that's better.
All right, I move we take these 7 million.
Better look at it anyway.
There you go.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that with the addition of the RFP motion.
Okay,
Yes.
Babinski? Gray?
Right.
Melvin?
Yes.
Van Loo?
Yes.
Slack?
Yes. I'll make the mayor's announcement. The rabies clinic will be held at the municipal building on Saturday, January 4, from 10:30 to 11:30.
Thank you, my rabies shot.
You can get your rabies shot if you need it, Kevin.
And will we be writing licenses for people that day?
Our licensed person is here, yes, no, maybe so?
If I'm here, yes. Might be taking my kids back to college and cancel.
Or could we get somebody to replace you to write the
Somebody, I
license?
will have the packets, I talked to Robbie about it, so they can like just write the check out, put it on envelope, and I'll mail the license out.
Yes,
So we will have
that's kind of what
something
they did in the
somewhere.
past. They didn't do anything, I think, on the computer. I think they did it all.
That's when it was all envelope.
Yeah, now it's harder with the
And then it
computer.
had to be entered into the computer.
Oh,
No, that's
No, I don't like to think that, I mean,
Oh, rabies?
rabies?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think, right, chief, they'll bring cats, dogs, anything you need your rabies shot.
I didn't ask about sheep, but I was told no.
There actually was a case where a rabid coyote bit a person somewhere, actually, it was somewhere just recently.
There was a coyote incident in, Hunter, a couple of years ago.
near Russell's.
All right, you want to stay with the...
All right, we need an executive session, probably 5 minutes, motion?
I move over to executive
Like you got
session.
fleas.
Want to make that contractual?
Who's the second?
Kevin, Melvin, sorry.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Let the record show that our police chief has fleas because... Oh,
I move we come back out of executive session.
Second.
All in favor?
Mayor, will you summarize?
Absolutely.
Okay, so, as part of the public agenda, we adopted a motion to execute an auction contract with Max Van Auction Company. This is with respect to the Shining School. We recommend establishing an undisclosed reserve amount, so obviously we don't want to publish that, so in the executive session, a unreserved auction figure was established by the council and has given me direction to convey that to Max Van. And so we're obviously not going to publish that since that would be kind of obviously more on to have undisclosed, disclosed. And that was it.
And one, can you, take whatever, we need to put this on our website as well, just publicizing the auction.
I'm going to those or something.
When, yeah, plus if he has links.
Max might be able to link us.
Yeah, I can get some links.
Oh, that's good, yeah.
You know, Hobson Street and West Boulevard.
Kevin, do you want one of these signed agreements back?
You know, where they were gonna put that development.
Could be okay with that.
Okay.
Like last street.
All right, any other business for the good of the whole?
All good?
All those in favor?
Oh, public comment.
We have that?
All right, we'll backtrack. Public comment? Come on, Dominic, come up here.
Please state your name and sign in for the record.
Dominic Adesta, 65 Mountain Road. Just a couple of things real quick. First, I just wanted to mention that I noticed that the light is out on the flag outside. Second thing I want to mention, I want to congratulate everybody on their election and thank everybody for their service to our township. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dominic. What's with the light, chief?
It's solar and there's not been much sun.
5 days?
I guess.
No.
No, it's solar.
Definitely breaking.
I know, that's what we had.
I mean, it's like, it has to be lit.
No, Peaburg just, Ingrid. I just looked at it.
I read
Yeah, we don't.
We have $900 in the fund that we were given a check for.
Nah, we're good.
We just haven't, everybody, yes, we will have it.
I took these, and I hate to have to drive.
Can I give this to you to give to one of the Pilgrims guys to come by and pick it up?
So we have to have policies as to where it is.
Sure.
How it is monitored by video surveillance. So the other problem is not finding it. We don't have a big festival downstairs.
Well, that's why I'm gonna have a department meeting.
So we have to try to see something that's not open to the public. Yeah, that's this is video.
I've already talked to her.
Or they won't allow us to have it.
You know, and I don't, I'm not one to feel, you know,
Yeah.
it's,